What's going on, guys? It's lesson 3 in the 5-day challenge to improve the communication and the connection with your kids. So, today we're going to be talking about dealing with their negativity, all right? Because the fact is that sometimes your kids aren't going to be happy with the situation that they're in, yeah? They're not going to be happy with certain, like maybe coming to your house or whatever it is, but there are going to be times when they express their dissatisfaction. And they might project that onto us, yeah? So, how we deal with that is going to be really, really important. So, like, guys, kids are not always rays of sunshine, yeah? And especially when we go through a breakup, there are times when they're going to be dissatisfied, they're going to be frustrated, they're going to be, just generally a bit negative about the whole thing. And right now, we're probably dealing with a bunch of stuff, and we're probably going to be very insecure about the relationship with our children. We're going to be very worried and very conscious of how, um, you know, how we're dealing with it with them. And so we're going to be very conscious of our relationship and how that's evolving. So we're very worried about the future right now. And when we hear our kids say negative things, it can cut us deep. It can cut us really deep because we're so vulnerable. And basically, we don't want our vulnerability and our open wounds to never heal. So in the future, we've always got these kind of things lurking over our head, these kind of feelings, these insecurities ruling our mind. And we don't want these to haunt us for the rest of our life. We want to be able to, build a bit of emotional resilience and take the higher ground, so to speak. We don't want to get sucked into their frame of reality on a continual basis because, ultimately, if we think about it in the future, we want to be like that old wise teacher. Always picture like a old wise kung fu teacher. The student could be flailing about, pissed off, whatever it is, but the fucking kung fu master always keeps his cool because he always knows the reasons and the stage of, development that person's at. So that's what we want to be like. And we want confidence, yeah? Right now, we want confidence in our ability to support our children. And we don't want to be in reaction to them. We want to be proactive towards how they're feeling and being that pillar of support. Long term, we want to make sure that we get through this without it having a huge, negative impact on our kids. And we want to show them that we can always be turned to for reassurance and support. Right? We need to set the example early on so that it builds that kind of expectation in the future. So when your kids are older, they'll look back at this time and they'll see what was done well, what wasn't. They'll get a bit of perspective, and so they'll be like, "Was Dad there? Did he handle it well? Did Dad lose his shit?" They'll think about that in the future. So how do we get there? It comes down to emotional resilience, guys. So at the end of the day, we are the adults, okay? Most of the time, I hope. Adults should have a better ability at managing our emotions, okay? Understanding them and how then to formulate those emotions and feelings into words to another person when we're trying to communicate. Kids, on the other hand, okay, they don't give a shit about your feelings. They don't give a shit. I mean, some kids can be fairly intuitive and stuff, but like generally, when a kid feels angry or pissed off, they'll let you know. And they don't care who's there. They could be in the middle of a shopping center and they will just let it rip. All they care about or all they feel is their feelings. It's very raw, it's very primitive, because it's kind of, they're early in their development, right? So when they are talking to you and saying that they're not happy about this situation, they could be like, "I hate it at Daddy's house." Like you'd say, "I don't like your food," or "I miss Mummy," or "You don't do my hair right. The food you make here is gross," or whatever it is, right? Those kind of things can really cut us deep. They can really cut us deep, and we can kind of look into them too much. We can look into them You know, because we're obviously very self-conscious, very vulnerable in this time. We're like, as soon as they say something like that, we're like, I'm a bad parent, I'm a bad father. But what you need to do is change that perspective from thinking about the words that they're saying, and rather than look at the words that they're saying, try and understand the feelings behind the words. All right. So the feelings behind the words are the things that they're actually trying to communicate. So when they're saying those things, okay, they could be frustrated. Okay, they could actually just be missing their mum. You know, when they say that they hate it at daddy's house, it's just that they probably are annoyed at having to be driven around, and they're probably just a bit tired of it. You know, they're probably adjusting to the new situation. So if we can shift our mindset from the words that they say to the feelings that they're feeling, which we kind of went through in when we understood their point of view. So if we shift our focus from that to that, then we kind of understand, look, you know, it's understandable that they're frustrated right now. So instead of being hurt by this, I'm going to support them. So when they say other negative things, you know, why are they feeling like this? It's understandable. This is a transitional time in their life. It could be hard for most adults to go through something like this, you know. So if you think about it for the kids, you know, they're just trying to process it. And if you take out the super big value that you put into their words and put it more into how they're feeling, then it'll really shift your mindset because it's understandable. It's understandable. And it's not a reflection of you as a father. You know, you guys who are in this group are guys who are wanting to be involved in your kid's life. You know, you're wanting to improve. You know, I made sure about that when we spoke on the phone. So make sure that you realize you're not a bad parent. Okay, it's more about the kids and how they're feeling. All right. So you need to decide. Yeah, make the decision consciously in your mind and be like, look, I'm going to shift my focus from what the words are that they're saying to the feelings behind what they're saying. You know, the feelings behind this whole situation. You know, cut them a bit of slack, and instead of being stuck in your own head, just offer more and more support, more and more love, more and more, you know, joy, and eventually that will shine through because that's what they're really, you know, that's what they're crying out for. That's what they want. So the task for this lesson is to write in the comments below. I want you to specifically say how you're going to deal with your children's negativity. All right. I want you, like a couple sentences, how you're going to deal with your children's negativity and how this has been helpful for you. Alright guys, see you in the next video.